In this tutorial, I will show various features of Aletheia revolving around the text content of a page. The text is a fundamental part of document analysis, and we will touch many different sections in Aletheia today. That is why I will stick with the full toolbar layout called All Features. You might have already seen how to transcribe text content for regions in an earlier tutorial. I would like to go into a bit more detail now. I decided to use a historic German document here because it leads to some interesting problems. I will just start to enter some text now. Of course, depending on how you use Aletheia, you might already have some text pre-filled from some OCR. Then you would go through and correct it instead. In the end, it makes no difference because you will encounter the same issues. The first one is right here, this ST. This is called a ligature. Essentially, it's two characters combined in one glyph. You will have to decide for one of two options. Either you expand the ligature and enter two characters, or you use a special character that is dedicated to this ligature. We have integrated a wide selection of ligatures and other special characters in the virtual keyboard at the bottom here. I can make it a bit bigger perhaps. So under S you can find the ligature we need here. Let me also increase the font size a bit. This is only a visual setting and is not saved in the page file. Which of the two options for entering text you should use depends on what the text is going to be used for. If you want to preserve as much information as possible, then it's best to use the ligatures. You can always convert the text later automatically to a version with expanded ligatures. But if you just want the information contained in the text, then don't use ligatures. No matter what you decide, the important thing is to be consistent. You will also see that later when we come to glyph objects. I will use the most precise way of transcribing. So you don't get bored, I will jump ahead a bit now. There are a few more things to point out. The line breaks are exactly as they are in the image. I also use the double hyphen symbol, not the modern version. The same goes for the spelling. This is not how you would write in modern German, for instance. At this point I should explain a bit more about the special characters. We use standard Unicode text encoding. It would be too much to explain the whole concept of Unicode. I will just mention a few basics. The Unicode standard contains a vast range of characters from different languages, or scripts to be precise. There's Latin, of course, Chinese, Cyrillic, and so on. But it also contains various symbols. Each character has a unique number, usually written in hexadecimal format. Let me give you an example. That way I can also show what the text field here is for. As long as you know the number, you can use any Unicode character in Aletheia. If you click the button on the right, the character will also appear in the list of recently used ones. So as long as you don't use too many different ones, you only have to enter the number once. I mentioned that you can use any Unicode character in Aletheia, but that's only half the truth. The character has also to be part of the font, otherwise it won't be displayed properly. Let me show you what I mean. Whenever a character is not part of the font, you will only get such a box. The font in Aletheia was especially made. It is based on an open font called Déjà Vu Sans. At the moment you cannot change it, but it might be possible in future. Okay, now there's one more thing to explain. Where do these special characters come from? We have collected them within various projects we were involved in. If you're interested, have a look in the help folder of Aletheia. There's a PDF with the table of all characters we integrated. And also, if you hover over a character on the virtual keyboard, you will get a short description and its number. Because the list of characters got quite long, we added a feature to customize the virtual keyboard. If you open the menu up here, you can switch to one of the predefined layouts. At the moment there's only one, namely ligatures. But you can also define your own layouts. Have a look at the user manual if you want to learn more. Now, after fast forwarding a bit, I have the text for all regions on the page. But what about the underlying objects? You might have seen in an earlier tutorial that you can subdivide regions into text, line, word and glyph objects. So let's have a look. You might be surprised to see that there's no text. To understand this, you need to know that Aletheia and the page file format allow you to specify text content at any level you wish. This makes it more flexible. If you want to train an OCR engine with your data, for instance, you most likely want the text at glyph level. If you're interested in creating searchable documents, you will be fine with the text at region level, for instance. You don't need to have the text at all levels, but if you want, you can always propagate the text from one to another level. So for this text line, for example, you can use the extract from parent button to pull the text from the text region. You could do this for all text lines one by one, but there's an easier way. Go to the region, select it and click on propagate in the toolbar. This gives you a short explanation then. I will just confirm it. And if you go to the text lines again, you will see that text is there now. Not only that, we also have it in the word and glyph objects. I mentioned earlier that you should decide how you want to transcribe ligatures, either as one character or as multiple ones. This becomes more important if you use the text propagation. I will quickly change one ligature in the text of the region, so this ST ligature could be expanded to S and T. If I try the propagation again, I get this error message. This is because there is one extra character in the text now, and Aletheia can't properly map it to the glyph objects. So if you decide to expand ligatures, you should also create two glyphs for it. I can split the glyph here, and the text propagation will work again. Extra line breaks and spaces will also be a problem, so it's best to be precise when you enter text. By the way, to correct such propagation errors, you can search for the involved objects by the ID that is displayed in the message box. Just press Ctrl+F and enter the ID and click Find Region. You can also search for text content in the Other tab. You can also do the opposite and compose text from child objects. Let me delete the region text and click the Compose Text button to show you. Okay, let's assume we have all the text now in all the levels we want. So what can we do with the text? Of course it is saved in the page.xml file and you can continue from there, but you can also export only the text to a separate file. You can do this either from the toolbar or the Aletheia menu. This dialog provides various ways to compose the text of the page. On the top left you can select what types of regions you want to include. So if you are only interested in the main text body, just select paragraphs and headings. As you can see, this changes the result straight away. As I explained earlier, the text can be stored at different levels. Here you can select from which objects you want to extract the text. Because we just propagated the text to all levels, this has no influence, but if I quickly add some typos, you see what happens. Now, if I switch through the levels, you see the spelling mistakes in the text preview. On the top right, you have a list of all regions that are used to get the text. These will change depending on the filter you apply. You can change the order now if you like, or remove regions if necessary. With this tick box down here, you can also restrict to only use regions that are within the reading order. Have a look at our other tutorials if you're interested how to define reading order. If you want, you can also freely edit the text yourself in the end. This is a simple text box. And with this tick box down here, you can avoid the extra line breaks Aletheia puts after each region. That's it, essentially. Now you can save this text as a specific file or copy it to the Windows clipboard if you like. One last thing perhaps, in case you're interested in character counts and similar figures, have a look at the statistics dialog. Okay, that was, in a nutshell, how to work with text in Aletheia. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more tutorials.